Hey, Ahan here, and welcome back to our 3D game development series. If you haven't watched the first episode, then you should go check it out. Today's video will be all about what it takes to do the coding of your 3D game. This video should give you all the information on planning and starting your first 3D game. Keep in mind that we won't be teaching you how to code in this video, but rather explain to you how everything works, so you might want to check out some helpful links on the tools referenced in the video on our website. Link in the description. Anyway, let's get into it. Alright, to begin with, you'll need an engine that provides you with 3D models to use in your code. This is kind of like the sprites in Scratch, if you've ever heard of it. Some engines that you can use are Unity, Unreal Engine, and Panda 3D. Engines usually have all pre-coded assets, but it's always great to tweak the default code to make your game. Most games are made in C++, C#, or Java. In this episode, I'm going to be using Python, as it is the most popular text-based coding language for kids. But if you want to learn this in a different language, you could either find a tutorial, or if this video does well, we'll make tutorials about other languages. First, you'll need to know the basics of Python. Next, you'll need to install some libraries for 3D game development. Some examples of these libraries include the Ursina engine, Pygame, PyOpenGL, or Panda 3D. These all do similar things, but they all have their own pros and cons. At the end of the day, choosing one depends on personal preference. Coders have different ways to do the same tasks, so I cannot say anything about the actual coding aspect, as there are many ways you could do this. What these libraries will do is give a stage or window, assets, and other necessary tools. These engines work by using most of the concepts we talked about in the previous episode. You'll have to understand how these libraries work. The best way to do this is by watching YouTube tutorials and reading the documentation on the library's websites. You can find these on our website. This is the most time-consuming part of learning a new coding language, but it is worth it. After you're somewhat familiar with the concepts, you can start making your first game. We recommend not doing something too complicated, as you might get frustrated with yourself. Once you're completely familiar with these, you can start making your game. Remember, Python sometimes has pretty peculiar syntax, so don't be afraid to search something up. If you have watched our previous episode, this whole game development thing would start making sense. Now that you know what you might need, here are some goals that you might want to achieve when making your game more captivating. Some categories that video games are separated by are PvP, as covered in the last episode, Tycoon, and Sandbox. These are just a few of the most popular, but some developers go all in and make their own kind of game, like Roblox, which is a community of players that can play, create, and interact with other players. There are a lot of choices when making a video game, but you might want to make sure your code can do basic functionalities before you might want to start writing a creative code. Hopefully, this video helped you understand what you need to start coding for your 3D game. If you want to learn a language or learn coding completely, make sure to like and subscribe.